bring some pals, and there's also therapy too.
All right, we're doing it, recording. Okay. Yay! Hello, everyone.
Welcome to Park Pals. Another
Welcome
interview.
back. I know, an interview. I hope everyone had a good New Year and a good Christmas or whatever you celebrate over the holiday of December and January.
Mm-hmm. Oh, fancy. We found out this week that in Russia, Christmas is January 7th.
Interesting. Wonder
weird?
what that's all about.
Yeah, I'm not really sure, but my dad was saying that's easier for Santa, so sure.
All right. Cool. Well, I mean, according to historical texts, Jesus' birthday wasn't actually in December, so
it really wasn't. They think it's in summer, actually. So.
Yeah. So look, we all cope the way that we need to go.
Yes, we just hope you all were able to relax and take some time with your loved ones.
Yes, exactly. And if you're in a space with snow, we hope that you have electricity. My God, my
Heat.
mom didn't. Oh my God, heat. Yeah, my mom got a bad snow in Virginia, and she didn't have electricity for a long time.
No, Mama
so but she was
Costa,
actually,
no.
I knew she was actually here, she's here now, actually, which is hilarious and amazing.
I didn't know that.
Yes, it's so
Yay.
precious. Yes, because she came for the holidays, and then she didn't have electricity in Virginia because she was going to go back, and then she was like, well, I guess I'll just stay here. And then we got a big snow. So
nuts.
then we were like, well, now you can't drive here. So she's getting on both ends, but it's raining pretty hard today, and it's better weather, so I think the rain's just going to wash everything away.
Okay.
But still, some people in Virginia still don't have power, so
wow,
hopefully everybody is doing okay.
Yeah. Now that I know what Virginia looks like, because I visited Connor / drove around the entire outline of Virginia.
I know.
Where does your mom live / where you're from in the
Yeah, so it's about 3 hours north of Virginia, of Virginia Beach, rather. Sorry.
Oh, sweet. Okay, so it's about a 8-hour drive for her as well to get to you.
Yeah, it's like closer to 9, almost 10 if you stop. But yeah, she usually leaves really early in the morning and then gets there at night. But the reason she drives is because she stays here for a while, which thank God she did, and you wouldn't have to worry about like flight cancellations or whatever. But yeah, so if you were to look at like the picture of Virginia, I suppose, and you see DC on the eastern, like very east side, we're about an hour south of that, and then 3 hours north of Virginia Beach.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah,
because we drove from Virginia Beach
kind of
to Knoxville.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I was trying to equate it in my head.
Yeah. So she was kind of nervous about going through the Virginia Beach kind of like Roanoke area because like it's very mountainous. And so with it being so cold and icy and whatever, and like fog and all that stuff.
And it's only
just,
2 lanes for most of that too.
Yeah, a lot of it is. So it's pretty tricky. And they always are doing road work, and it was just like, let's just not even worry about it. You know what I mean? And our snow here wasn't that bad. We just got one snow day, which was super amazing. And then the next day, we just like whoever could, we just braved it and went out. And it wasn't bad, but it was definitely icy. And now the rain, I think, is just washing everything away. So that's good.
Oh, good. So I hope everybody's safe and warm.
Yes, hope everybody's safe. Long way of saying that.
Yes.
But yes, we have a treat for you today as we are welcomed back to 2022. And by welcomed back, I mean just welcomed back to the podcast, rather. But today we have our amazing John Balma, a.k.a. Barney Varmn. And what a delight. What a true treasure he is. He was so sweet, and I felt like I could talk to him for 800,000 hours.
Yeah, super genuine human being. And just, I think he has a really cool heart and story, and he was a delight. I'm sure everyone will enjoy him.
Yeah,
yes.
For sure. He has a company for dogs, and his partner has a company for dogs that I will post in the show notes. He's based out of San Francisco, so if anyone's visiting San Francisco, please make sure to say hi to him if you see him in the streets, because he's very open to that. But also, if you have a dog in San Francisco, or if you know anybody who has a dog in San Francisco, go ahead and hit them up, because they would be happy to help you.
Yes.
So super fun. And thanks to him for answering all my questions. I felt like I was just really excited. I mean, when I first heard his voice, like you heard, I said it out loud. When I heard his voice and his camera wasn't on yet, I was like, oh my God, it's Barney.
It's happening.
He has such a distinctive voice. It's so gnarly. I was so excited to hear it. So I'm so glad that he was able to be so wonderful and give us a little bit more insight into the world of Parks and Rec.
Yeah. Yeah. So he was great. Hopefully everybody enjoys him, and you get to kind of hear a little bit more of the other stuff he's worked on as well. So if you're a fan of any of the other shows, make sure to go back and watch him. And I am intrigued to go watch that movie he mentioned, Moonlight Mile, with Susan Sarandon and Jake Gyllenhaal. I looked it up while he was talking about it because I was like, I have never heard of this, but that's a stacked cast. So let's do this.
And he's such a phenomenal character actor. I mean, I really feel like he can do so many different things. So I'm really glad that he was able to talk about like the different kinds of characters that he's played before, and his whole career with theater and everything too. So yeah, I'm really excited for him. And I hope that he gets to be on Broadway one day when, God willing, Broadway opens back up. So, but yeah, stay safe out there. I mean, so many people I know have COVID right now. It's actually insane. So please be careful, get vaccinated and boosted, and just be careful. And if you're running out of things to do, just go back and listen to any of our podcasts.
Yes. Yeah, that's the thing to do.
But we've got a couple more interviews coming out this month, and we probably won't do an episodic one review until the end of the month because we've got some amazing people to talk to. So we're super stoked to share that with you. But for now, we will leave you with the amazing, incredible, wonderful, kind John Balma.
There's a park and some pals, and there's also therapy too.
Hello?
Hi.
Hi, John.
Are we on?
Yes, I can hear you, but I can't see you.
Oh, hold on. Let me fix that.
Yay! Hi.
Oh,
How's it going?
good. Pardon me. I'm setting coffee down.
Oh, no, you're good. Oh my gosh, it's so exciting to hear your voice. I can't even handle it right now. It's so succinct and perfect.
Hello. Hello.
Well, thank you for joining us. How's your day going so far?
So far, so good. I'm a little nervous. I'm a total Luddite, so all of this is...
Oh my gosh, you're so good. All you have to do is sit there and answer questions. No, I'm kidding. We'll just have like a little fun conversation.
Perfect. Okay.
Yay! Well, how long? I'm in Nashville, and Madi, my co-host, is in Arizona.
Arizona. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So.
And you're in LA?
I'm not. I'm in San Francisco.
Oh, okay, cool. Is that where you live right now?
Yes.
Oh, fun. How's that been going?
Fantastic. I came back in August of 2019.
Okay.
Yeah, and then
because that's where you're from, right?
Not really, but sort of. I came here to go to college when I was, a kid, and stayed and lucked out and had a theater career. So I was here for about 17 years before I went.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What made you want to move back? Like, was LA just kind of you were done, or was it like because that was before the COVID happened? I guess.
It was before COVID happened, and yes, I was in a rut and very unhappy with myself in Hollywood, and I didn't know how to kickstart and really get up my enthusiasm to make it all work again. So a friend, in fact, my last roommate in San Francisco was listening to me kvetch about this and said, come to San Francisco. You can stay with me for a year. See if that, does anything. And it was the smartest move.
Oh, good. That's always so helpful when you actually appreciate like where you're living. It just makes such a difference.
Well, I realized after being here a very short while that the aesthetic, just the day-to-day aesthetic of walking out and seeing this city really improved my outlook on life.
Interesting.
It's a gorgeous city and all these old Victorians, and I live on this really quaint little street, and it's quite something. And down there, you walk a little, not much. You're in your car all the time.
Yeah, I
walked maybe like a little.
I lived in LA for about 5 years. Madi has visited on and off. But you're never really walking. I mean, I walked a little bit in my last place because I was in North Hollywood and I felt like things were a little bit closer to me, like grocery stores and whatnot. But for the most part, like if you're going to work or auditions or whatever, you're driving.
Where did you live in North Hollywood? I was on Blick Street.
Ooh, I was off of oh my gosh, I can't even remember. It was off Hart Street, it was closer to like Sun Valley area. It wasn't like necessarily the artist quarter, I guess is what you would call it, like where all the dance studios are and stuff. It was close enough to that, but I was probably closer to Sun Valley.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah, I liked it. It was cute. It was my first ever studio. It was really fun.
You never forget your first.
Yeah, exactly. It was just became way too expensive for me. I was just, I was still paying off, or am still paying off student loans. And, it's just like the cost of living didn't match, unfortunately.
Yeah, to say no more. I live in one of the most expensive cities in the world, and I'm still happy. But it's, you have to keep all the balls in the air.
Right. Well, I think once you kind of get a hold on it, like that's why I moved, is so I could get a hold on it, and then hopefully eventually I can go back if that's where the time leads me. But well, fun. Well, I'm glad that you're in San Francisco. I've only been there once, and I would love to go back. So I'll have to hit you up next time I'm there.
Oh, please do. I love this city so much.
Oh,
it's
good.
changed dramatically from when I was a youngster running around here. But
I've heard that.
It's still gorgeous. Yeah, it's changed a lot. I mean, the whole character is even changing, which is a little disturbing, but it's still really fun. Wonderful.
That's awesome. Well, John, thank you again for being here. We appreciate you so much. It is amazing. My heart is soaring. So, do you remember your first audition for Parks and Rec?
I very much do.
Tell us about it.
The casting director was Dory Frankel at the time. I think she was actually on Parks and Rec for its entirety. And I knew her from, she'd probably called me in for a couple other auditions elsewhere. And I also had been in an acting class with her. And so I knew Dory, so I was not nervous going in. It makes a difference when you have a friend in the room. And it was for a tiny little, I really think it was a couple of lines. I don't even think Barney was my first audition. I think I auditioned for another character.
Really?
I kind of think that. I may be wrong, but there may have been one other thing I read for and didn't get. But this one, I remember going in, and they needed someone with a monotone, and I'm pretty flat in my delivery, and so I went in, I did my thing, and they hired me, and it was for this one show called Leslie's House, which I think you just did a show on, didn't you?
Yeah, yes. We just talked to Alex Hardcastle, the director of that one.
Oh my God!
But yeah, we
Alex.
just talked to him, and I thought that was such a fun. I didn't even know when I talked to him, but I thought that was a fun little connection of Grace and Frankie, because you did Grace and Frankie too, really briefly.
I did, yes, in the first season.
Yes,
awesome.
I remember seeing you, because I only really watched it, like, full disclosure, I only really watched it because of Alex, and I just fell in love, and then I saw you in a couple scenes, and I was like, oh my God, it's John! But I loved it, so that's cool. But anyway, sorry, I interrupted your story about your audition.
No. So I read it, and I got the part, and I went and did it, and it was a blast. I can't even tell you. It was, kind of... Oh my God, look at who's in the room even, it was
Totally.
But it was really one job. It was I don't think it was ever intended to be a recurring character.
Okay.
Easily a year passed before they called up and said, could you come back? And I was like, of course I can. And it was the exact same joke. They had me come back and do this flat monotone thing on the telethon.
Yes.
And I thought that was the end of that. And then the third one, I think it was the third one, I had an office, and, it was like, wow, okay.
I know. Yeah, the third one is where we actually see the accounting department, or the accounting firm, I should say.
Yeah.
And it's really funny because they always call it the accounting firm, but I see that there was a name for it, and I didn't write it down because I was like, those names are really actually kind of hard to pronounce. I don't know where they got those names. It was like Rajowski and something or other.
Yeah, I should know this, shouldn't I? And I don't.
No.
No.
Well, it wasn't your last name, your character's last name. So
I know, I wasn't a partner. Gosh. Why
Oh my God. Well, do you remember anything, or what do you remember really about being there on Leslie's house? Like you said, you were in that room with all of them, really. I mean, it's nuts.
It was shot in a real house in Altadena. And I just remember how crowded it was. You know, it was crowded, but I'm sorry, I'm going silent on a podcast. That's
no, please. Oh gosh.
The crew was so much fun, and they were so much fun every time. For the whole 4 years I was in and out, that crew was a blast, and they were having a good time, and it made such a difference. And I just remember it being like a party, really. You know, it all went fairly quickly. There wasn't a lot of waiting around. I was surprised by that. That might be the benefit of handheld work, you know, with handheld cameras and moving quickly and stuff. And there was an actor. You know, I was nervous. I was hoping I was doing it right and all that stuff. And of course,
yeah. I mean, that must have been pressure because you were in front of all them, literally giving a
presentation. They were all there. I mean, there's Pratt and Offerman and Leslie. Justin Theroux was in it, and
exactly.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And there was an actor, and I've forgotten his name, and I wish I hadn't, who was a regular at the time.
Okay.
Sort of a tall, good-looking guy with dark hair. And
was it Blake Lee?
It might have been Paul Schneider.
Oh, that
for Mark.
Paul Schneider. Did he do a movie called All the Pretty Girls or something like that?
I don't know.
Anyway, this guy had done a movie that knocked my socks off. And when I saw him, I was just like,
frozen?
That was my starstruck thing. And after I did my first scene, he broke out of the cast. He came up to me and was like, wow, where did you come from? And I was like, oh my God.
That's awesome.
You know, I've arrived.
Oh my God. You didn't even have to ask him. He just did it.
It is him.
Yeah.
Paul Schneider.
All the real girls.
All the real girls. Yeah. You should see it.
Okay.
Pretty terrific.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So I'm really interested in talking to him eventually because I want to know the tea on why he left the show.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know why.
He's such an appealing character. I'm not sure what that was about. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I guess Parks fans, fanatics would say that there wasn't really a lot left for his character to do. I felt like he was kind of going down this decline of excitement or growth in his career / personality. But I feel like they could have done something, but whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fine.
You never know. You never know these things.
But yeah, so I liked him in Elizabethtown too. I'll never forget him. But anyways, that's awesome. I'm so excited to hear that they brought you back. And what's interesting to me is that you say that they wanted kind of a monotone, a character and voice. But it's interesting because the first 2 episodes, that's definitely what you do and what you bring to it. And even when I talk to you, just now, you're not a monotone fellow, not to me anyway.
Yeah.
So I feel like that was really well played. And in that third one is when you get all excited about the jokes. But it's such a steady incline because that first, he makes a joke about they call me the Swiss Army accountant or whatever. And you're just like, okay, all right. And then he says the calculator thing.
And I mean, my God, that's famous now.
Yeah,
it's so
it is.
Famous.
It's great.
It is. I can't tell you. You know, I, as I said, I'm a bit of a Luddite. I don't really, I'm not great at social media, but my neighbor across the street, who I've known for a couple of years now, comes up to me once out of the blue after knowing me for a year and says, John, you're a rock star. I just saw this Reddit thread about your character and I was like, what? What's Reddit? Tell me, And I can't remember where I was going with that.
No, it's probably a calculator thing. They probably have a bunch of puns.
I read it and it's I can't tell you how many people use that. Mm-hmm. And they say it to me on the street sometimes, It's funny.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, especially on Reddit, I feel like there are such deep cuts in Reddit. Like people that use Reddit, I feel like they just go on and on and on and on forever.
Exactly.
But I mean, that's awesome. And then I think in that same episode, because Ben quits then, and then you're leading around Ben Schwartz, and he doesn't know anything about accounting.
Was that episode? Oh, it might have been. You're right. Ben comes in to get a job. Do you know, I have to say, of all the scenes I did in all the years, for some reason, when I read that scene and I knew who the character was, I was so excited to do that with him. I was just waiting to do that. And
the Ben Schwartz one?
Yes.
You mean? Okay, yeah.
And I got to tell you, that guy, he's something else. You know, I mean, you watch his work and he's brilliant, but he's terrific off screen too. He's he's a good guy. But
what a master.
That was so much fun.
Did you get to improvise at all?
No, nothing is improv. You know, I know it all looks like it's off the cuff, but it's all on the page. You know, every word is written and it's very good. And that's why it's so easy for us to make it look like that. But no, nothing was improvised. The first time I did it, me and the camera, I kept turning away from the camera at the end. And there's a very funny bit to be had, a little button if you stay on the camera and watch him go out the door. And then the poor cameraman kept having to remind me, oh, you're turning away at this point and blah, 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 blah. So I went away from it thinking, oh, damn, I screwed that up. But when I saw it, I laughed my head off.
It's perfect. Well, I know that he's such a master of improv, but I also know that like so many of the cast and crew are improv people. So like I've heard from, I think Madi would agree, right, that like they're depending on the the guest stars rather, the co-stars, like sometimes they'll do fun runs and sometimes they won't. So I'm always interested to see who gets through the fun run and who kind of just like went with what was on the page. That one was so fast though anyway, like it kind of had to be choreographed, I feel, to go throughout the office, like so that you get to the right spot at the right time.
So quick too.
We had to have, you notice there's a young woman who passes, and to get that timed right took we really had to hit our marks all the way around that circle that we walked. So it was not improvised. I imagine that they know which actors are coming in with a big improv background. They're all in that world. I was never in that world. So it always, the whole idea of improv scared the hell out of me. But
I was going to ask that because you said you were a big theater actor, and I saw that like doing some research on you myself that you were. So improv wasn't really one of your main focuses.
I think I went to Second City for like 2 classes. And that was it, And I'd gone to watch improv shows, and sometimes they're funny and sometimes they weren't. And so I wasn't a big fan.
Yeah.
It
can be a hit or miss. Look, if you see bad improv, it can really put a bad taste in your mouth.
It can. But when you see really good improv, it's pretty brilliant.
It's life-changing when you see good actors do it. It's insane.
Yeah. It's something else. Have you seen this? There's a group that does, they do genre improv. They do Dickens, they improv all in Dickens or all in Shakespeare or all in Tennessee Williams or stuff like that. They're in LA. They're pretty
That's cool.
terrific. Yeah.
That's impressive. That's a lot of information you have to retain to be able to come up with stuff on the spot in that language in that field.
They did an evening of Sondheim improv one. I missed, but I would pay money to see that.
Oh my God. I have heard of the improv Shakespeare, and I don't know, I haven't actually seen it, but I did improv for a little bit when I was in LA, and I remember seeing that advertised. But the biggest thing that I remember is the improvised musicals, and we saw one that was called Opening Night, and a couple people, they would always have guest stars in there, but like the main cast was pretty much always there as well. And half of them, no joke, were in parks. I remember seeing some of them, but it's so funny because I remember I took my friend, actually Sean, who's been on this podcast before. I took him when he visited to opening night, and like he still talks about it to this day. He's like so impressed by them because like there were themes and dance moves and just like so many things, like callbacks, obviously, because it's improv. And I mean, the pianist really makes such a big move in that as well, because they have to like sometimes they'll bring back themes that the actors didn't even remember that they were doing. It's just nuts. It
is amazing, isn't it? Very clever people. Very clever.
Absolutely. Well, so when did you start with theater? Oh, sorry, Maddie, you go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I like back on the improv thing, because I'm thinking about all these like guest stars that we've talked to that have and haven't done improv. I think a lot of the characters that have done are like the ones that are at the town hall meetings or like the public forums. And I feel like your character is just a little bit more set in stone, and like his kind of appearances kind of bode better with a script.
Yeah.
Like there's less wiggle room.
Barney is a running gag, you know? The joke is almost always the same, you know, where he's in love with Adam and Adam
he's so fascinated.
The basis of it, you know.
Oh man. That's one of my favorite scenes. Like one of my favorite performances by you is when you find Cones of Dunshire. And you're like reading through all the instructions and you're so excited and amazed by this creation. And
okay, there was a moment of improv.
Ooh.
Because somebody called Ledgerman. One of the extras called Ledgerman before anyone could get to it. And
wow.
That was a brilliant moment in that little piece, and I loved it. It was great.
Wow. Oh wow, yeah, because 2 people say I call Ledgerman. That's so cute. Oh my god, I love that.
I think
when you're like cracking
maybe
up,
it was scripted. I don't know. Gosh.
Well, either way, maybe they saw it in the script and they were like, maybe I should do that too.
Yeah.
But when you're like cracking up, and you know, we talked about it being a gradual incline. Were you given any kind of direction with how to do that, or did you kind of just make that choice?
And I'll tell you, you know, I worried about this a lot when the show came down, and I finally watched it. I don't watch myself generally, but once the series was over, I went back and watched it, and I watched this escalation of Barney becoming this huge, sort of rather overblown character.
Yeah.
The hair changes, everything. And I was like, oh my God, why didn't somebody check me on all of that, you know? But there was no, you when you came in, you know, 8 months after doing a show, there was no continuity. There was no one comparing pictures of what you used to look like and everything.
Right.
And I kind of forgot, you know, in the early years, I couldn't remember what I had looked like because I wasn't watching, you know, myself and stuff. So you see the hair get longer, and you see my acting get much broader, much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it fits though, because I feel like I created this backstory almost in my head that he was an accounting teacher. And then when we meet him later, he's at a firm. So he's like taken this big step. So like, and I think that fits with all of us, right? We don't always look the same a couple years later. We kind of find a new style or a new vibe. So I think that's cool.
Yeah, it does work, doesn't it?
You can make sense of it all as a fan, I feel. And truthfully, also, unless you're watching it from like season to season, you don't really notice anyways. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, all I'll say is that everything I did fit the writing, and the writing evolved as I evolved, right? You know, and I think I hope I served what the writer was after, you know, because it did get more elaborate and broader, and they love the scream and the Ted and all that stuff, you know.
Yes, I know. Well, I was going to ask it. I mean, it sounds like they would have said something if it wasn't what they wanted, right? Like...
Oh, yeah. I was never reined in by a director. I never had anyone say, no, that's not the way to do it.
Right.
So.
Well, speaking of directors, I mean, I looked through all the ones that you did, or the episodes that you were part of, and you work with, I don't think you worked with the same director twice. So that must have been wild.
I don't think I did either.
Did you have a favorite one, or did you have any like thing to say about like what it was like to switch between directors?
I did, and you know what? I'm going to forget her name.
Oh no.
What's her name? Let me see if I can find her.
Was it someone named Wendy? Because that was the only like.
No, it wasn't Wendy.
One.
It was like Joyanne or Julianne. Was her name?
I'll have to look that up.
Oh, I'm sorry, Julie. I can't remember your name. But
I'll look it up and I'll do it in the recap.
I'll tell you why she became my favorite. I think I ended up working with her 2 or 3 times throughout my career. But that time might have been the first time I had been moved up from co-star to guest star, which is all just a billing thing. And
big deal, though.
What?
I said, I think it's a big deal, though.
It's a big deal. It's a big deal. Yeah. And she was she was really, really engaged and chatty and, just tried to include me in the big boys' chairs. She actually invited me to come sit next to her between takes and stuff. And I just thought, oh, I'm in the inner circle now. I wasn't, but it made me feel good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
She was terrific. She was really approachable and like all the directors on sitcom generally, sharp as a tack, and they work very, very quickly. And I love I love that. No brooding or contemplating stuff.
Yeah. That's really cool when, you see that there isn't necessarily a hierarchy, or like there is, but there isn't. And it's just nice to all be a part of the same team,
Sometimes it's just in your head, I'm very much that kind of, oh, am I worthy to be over here and all that stuff.
Oh my God. Yeah. We can relate.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's a weird world in Hollywood, you never know where you're standing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Because that character, I feel, was a little he's just like fun and playful, and I have seen you in a couple other things like Friends and Scrubs, which FYI, oh my God, so amazing, love it. And I always clock you, and I'm rewatching those shows too, but in those ones in particular, I feel like your character is like the creepy guy kind of, which is like hilarious, and I love that. But I'm also like, were you typecasted as that? And because Barney isn't, I feel, he's a little creepy in the sense where he's like stalking Ben almost, but but it's more fun.
That's an interesting question. I'm very aware of the creep factor in my being and how it can easily go that direction. But I'll tell you, early in my career in Hollywood, I got called in to read for a movie. It had no lines, but it had a lot of reaction shots. And I was the killer in the movie. I was a murderer.
Oh, wow.
And my agents were like, well, they want to see you. I don't know why, you're such a nice guy. I don't think, don't get your hopes up, that sort of thing. And I got the part. And it was really creepy when you see it. It's with Jake Gyllenhaal and Holly Hunter and Susan Sarandon and Dustin Hoffman. It's a movie called Moonlight Mile.
Okay.
It's a courtroom scene that I'm in while Jake is testifying. And anyway,
that's a stacked cast.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. My first big movie, and that's who I'm working with. It was something else, I tell you.
That's
cool.
Amazing. I know a lot of people that are like that, though, where they're like, my headshot / like my appearance doesn't really match my personality. And so they're trying to like find a way to meet in the middle a little bit, Well,
yeah. When I was in stage, I was a chameleon. I got cast in all kinds of roles. Character actors have the luxury of doing that. So when I went to Hollywood, I didn't understand that I needed to be, a box of Tide. This is who I am, and this is how I play. And so I don't know. I didn't. You
got to do multiple things.
I did get to do multiple things, but not necessarily intentionally. They read me and decided what was what. I'll tell you something funny about, when that movie came out where I was the killer, I had postcards made. I had this one headshot that looked really creepy. So I made it into a postcard to advertise the movie and send it to all the casting offices. And it so happened it landed on Leslie Litt's desk at Friends the week she was trying to find a bad guy character for the show. So she called me in for the part. And I didn't get it. But 2 weeks later, they called me in for another part. And it was for the Barbados episode. Mm-hmm. And it was a little 2-line part. And I went in and I read for it. And I left and I was out in the parking lot and someone came running after me and they said, they want you to read for the guest star. Come back. And that was Jarvis Overblow.
Yes, Jarvis.
Yeah. So the creep led to that,
That's so cool.
Strange chain there. And that's also why I tell young actors the power of the postcard. A lot of people say don't do that kind of stuff, but I got quite a few jobs off postcards, so I believe.
Interesting.
Yeah,
that's so cool. I would never think about that. That's really cool.
Yeah.
I mean,
I know, and that's why it's so expensive too.
Oh, I'm sorry. What was that?
Oh no, I was just saying sometimes it can be expensive too. So it's really an investment,
Well, it's not that expensive, and it is an investment, and you have to be willing to when you're brand new. Willing to spend a little money to get your face out there, do whatever it takes, I mean, after a while, you don't really need to do that kind of stuff. Once you kind of get known, then the agency has an easier time picking you. But I was an unknown. I was complete unknown, so I didn't mind. I did whatever I could.
Is that how the Scrubs thing came about too, or something similar, or was that just more of a once audition then the end?
That was just a once audition. I don't even remember who cast
that one. You were literally in for 5 seconds.
I was,
but I loved it.
Had that brilliant costume, that low cut weird
like robe thing,
my hair plastered down. I loved that they did that to me. When I saw them doing the makeup and everything, I was like, oh, this is going to be fun. And I remember Zach Braff was in the makeup chair next to me. And at first, the makeup people were trying to kind of clean me up. And I said, couldn't you just I think he's kind of messy and creepy. And they're like, well, we just want to get you. And Zach said, no, make him look as bad as possible. And
interesting.
And I was so grateful to him for doing that, because that window shot just makes it is so funny. The landlord.
So for the listener who is not familiar, that scrub scene was where Zach Braff's character is looking for a new apartment, and then he goes into this one, and John's character is outside of the window saying, oh, he's perfect. And then Zach Braff has this really hilarious reaction shot, and it's just so good. It's so perfect. And I'm sure, I don't know if he directed that episode, but I'm sure his brain is in the directing mindset as well. You know what I mean? So
yeah, it is, because of course, right after that, he did that movie, Garden State. And obviously the guy's brilliant. So
yeah, that's so funny. I love that. Well, so did you have a favorite person or a favorite story of who you worked with on set, or who you got to hang out with at Crafty or anything like that? Because you worked with all of them.
I did work with all of them. Let's see. I didn't.
Maybe favorite is a strong word, because that puts a lot of pressure on it. But
memorable,
what I mean?
Something that's memorable. Maybe.
Well, the for me, one of the big memorable things was Chris Pratt on set. We didn't work together a lot. I think toward the end of my arc, we had a couple of scenes together. But he was so much fun on set. He was just a happy presence, and he brought his mother to set one episode, and that really sort of endeared me to him, or endeared him to me. I thought he was really sweet and fun. Nick was very, very funny and very nice. I didn't get to meet Megan, She wasn't in any of my scenes.
Which one's Megan?
His wife.
Lally, his wife.
Oh, Megan. Okay, got it. Megan. Okay, got it.
And Leslie and I had a few exchanges, and I think I even saw this recently. And you know how Facebook gives you memories from past years? I guess I had just done an episode, and Leslie had told me in the elevator going back down to our dressing rooms that I made her laugh so hard, and I had to make a post of that. I was like, oh my God. Anyway,
I would too, every day.
Totally.
I'll tell you one exchange that's very memorable is that late in the arc, I had started getting recognized on the street. And it was, I'd had that experience before because of a commercial that ran in the early 2000s, and I got recognized a lot from that. But usually I wasn't recognized too often. But when Parks and Rec was going, it was like I couldn't go to the store without talking to people and be in line for coffee, and I'd notice people staring and talking and stuff. And so I did a lot of selfies and a lot of hello and all that stuff, which I loved. Never be afraid to approach me on the street.
Yay!
It's fun to talk to people.
John gets mobbed 2 days later. No, just kidding.
Yeah. But I went to set, and we had to walk from our trailers over to probably the business park or something where the office was set up. And I was walking with Nick and Chris. And so Nick says, "So are you starting to get recognized?" And I said, "Yes, I am." And I said, I don't think I'm handling it well, because I said, everyone's really nice, but it's like the moment they recognize me, I have to think back for 5 minutes and figure out if I was picking my nose or what was going on all the time they were staring at. And Chris goes, "That's exactly what it's like." You have to watch what you're doing in public all the time now.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I can't even
That's
imagine.
I can't imagine what it's like to be a megastar, No wonder.
Especially now with Chris Pratt being in the Marvel universe.
Yeah.
Goodness.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's nuts. But I'm so glad that you're like feeling good about taking pictures with people. That's very nice of you.
Oh, You know what? I got to tell you, the Parks and Rec fans, never a bad one. They're so sweet. They're just great. Yeah.
Yay.
Thanks, everybody, for repping us.
I love talking to them.
That's so good to know. Yeah, I feel like everybody's just so excited, and they're mostly nerds anyway. So it's like,
yeah, I feel like it correlates well with how we've gotten feedback about set from all of the guest stars, right? That it's always a good experience and lighthearted, and everybody's fun, and it's like a family on set. And so it's cool that it's kind of the same with the fans, that we're not like pushy and stuff. It's the same vibe.
And that said, I know I said it earlier, I'll say it again. That was the most fun set. I've been on a lot of sitcom sets, and that one was different.
Yeah,
it was
something special.
Really great.
That's so cool. Oh my God, I love hearing that. I was going to ask you too about you came back multiple times. I was going to ask, did they say anything specific to you about like why they asked you back, not as far as like you being great, obviously, but I mean more so in your character. Did they say anything like that?
Nope.
Okay.
It always went, my agent would call, "Parks and Rec wants you to come back. Are you available these dates?"
Yeah.
That's
cool.
The entire discussion.
Yeah. Well, and it's amazing because, you talked about Chris Pratt and you having scenes with him. I was just rewatching the one where Ben, Nick, and Chris Pratt and Andy are trying to get April the job.
Yeah.
And then he throws fireworks at you in the parking lot. "Give me the job, USA." And I was going to ask, like, what was that like? And did they actually have fireworks? Like, was that a post thing? Like, what was that?
As I recall, they had fireworks. I think
Okay.
they did. Yeah. That was such an odd thing. I don't have a big memory of it. I just remember it was the last shot of the day. It was at the end of quite a long day. And we went down and I was so thrilled because they had Barney Varm's name on a parking placard.
Yes.
Well, yeah.
And they had your name in your office too. Like I looked at that, like in frames with your like degree and awards and stuff. I was like, oh my God, Barney, moving up.
Yeah, you know, when I saw that on the office thing, it was the first time I knew I had a last name.
Wow.
And what a last name too, Varmn.
Varmn with an N, M and an N. But yeah, I remember the regular firework like on the parking lot, like the little fountain one being like that could probably be real. But I was like, when he's throwing stuff in your car, I was like, is that like, did they have to budget for like the damage control of that car? Or like, I don't understand.
Gosh, I'm pretty sure it was real.
Yeah. It looked real.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You know, I wouldn't worry too much about budgets when you're doing big successful shows.
Right. Well, especially that one.
Willing to throw some money
by the time that got there. That's awesome. And then also not speaking of, as if we haven't been talking about this for the whole time, but Cones of Dunshire was like, I just was rewatching, not that episode in particular, but the Unity concert one. And you were your character was the one that created the C core, like for Cones of Dunshire, like copyrighted it. And I don't know why, but I just felt this like overwhelming sense of pride. I was like, Barney made Cones of Dunshire a real thing. It's not just in Ben's head anymore. And it's not just a game for, accounting people. It's like a real thing. So it's amazing to me.
Yeah. Was that the one where they're at the restaurant and I presented?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you pop out and he's like, you don't have to introduce yourself every time. It's me, Barney.
That's right. Yeah,
where was that restaurant? Do you remember? Do you remember where that restaurant was?
It was a set.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a set at CBS Radford. Wow. You know CBS Radford? Do you know that?
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah,
CBS just sold it, so I don't know what it's going to be called now, but yeah.
Interesting.
Oh, weird.
I didn't know that.
That's nice.
Yeah.
I guess.
Did you get to play with the board game at all, like, or anything, or not really?
I never actually really saw. I saw some of the big pieces they did originally when we had the calzone party, but
yes.
I didn't see the actual game after that. I heard rumor that it was going to be a real thing and sell in stores and stuff, but I don't think that came to be.
I should look.
I haven't seen it. They should do that though. You know how much money they would make off of that?
Do you know how happy that would make so many people?
I know, right?
I'm honestly surprised they didn't, because I feel like NBC is so about like the behind the scenes and stuff like that. I don't know that. Oh my God. All right, we'll get on it. Don't worry.
Okay.
They have a Parks and Rec. It's almost like Cards Against Humanity type style.
Really?
And it's like it's very interesting. Somebody got us that for Christmas one year, but it's like the main card that goes in the middle of the group has like something you have to spin, like a bad headline. And then you have cards you choose from for how you spin the story.
That's interesting.
So I'm like, I feel like that took more thought process than trying to create Cones of Dunshire, which already had an outline in the show.
Right.
They should totally do that.
I know. A part of me wonders if the person who wrote it was just kind of like spewing out things, so to make actual rules and write it in a handbook would be hard, but
right.
It could be done.
Quite possibly.
That's wild. Also, I love that you shout Ted so many times and we never actually meet Ted.
I love it too. Oh my God. I get asked a lot of questions about Ted, and I can't.
You do? What kind of questions?
A single one. You're never ever going to meet him. I mean, if they were ever to revive the show, you still would not know who Ted is.
Oh my God, that is amazing. And then also the person that you talked to, who I really love this episode. So the episode where he solves that the trust file,
Yeah.
where he has to dissolve the trust and you do the little light bulb moment. I'm really, do you remember working with that guy who played Frank?
Yeah.
Because he is so good, and he is similar to you, I feel. Well, I guess similar to a lot of character actors where they're like, I mean that I saw him, and I'm only basing this off of one other thing I saw him in, which was Xenon. Hello, Disney Channel movie.
Yes, Xenon.
And he plays like the bad guy who steals the chip.
Yeah, okay.
In Xenon.
And
it's amazing.
Yes. Xenon girl from the 21st century or whatever the hell. And anyway, so I was just curious what it was like to work with him, because he is also kind of typecasted, but could be different from his character.
He was really great. We were actually from the same agency, so we had this little bonding moment when we figured that out. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Had you known him before?
I hadn't. You know, I don't know if you can see me, but I'm desperately trying to look up his name.
Oh, it's Bob Bancroft. I'm sorry.
Oh, Bob, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, I wrote it down because I was like, I need to know what his life is about.
Yeah, it's so funny. I thought when I saw him in costume and everything, I thought, oh, he looks perfect for the firm. And then when I saw a picture of the two of us together, I thought it was hilarious. And I wished that they had made a team of us and let us, you know, come back together, this Mutt and Jeff.
Oh my God.
You know.
That would have been so fun.
Yeah.
Did you, I guess, I was going to say, did you break, but you guys are probably professionals about it, especially the light bulb moment. I thought that was so funny. Did you take a long time to get that done?
Not really. I remember the first time I did it, I thought for sure they were going to like, okay, pull it back, pull it down. That's too big. That's too big. And they didn't. So it got silly. It got really silly. I don't remember people breaking very much. I think there was one take in the lobby of the, you know, April trying to get a job when I probably screamed Ted, or some scream came out of my mouth, and both Nick and Chris were trying to stifle laughs. And I think we did have to do a retake at that point for that.
Yeah.
That is so funny.
Was it hard not to break in that scene with Ben Schwartz?
It was moving so quickly that it wasn't hard not to break.
Okay.
And I was sort of starstruck, so I was just going with it, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
He's so good. Oh.
He's so good, so fast. Don't know what QuickBooks are. Don't know what you're talking about, but.
Oh gosh.
Where was that business park, or was that a set too, where the accounting firm was?
I think that one was out in. I'm forgetting all the geography of LA all of a sudden.
That's okay.
The other side of the 405, Woodland Hills or something like that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, there was like a mall thing over there too. That would make sense.
It was this huge business park, and we were up on like the 6th floor or something like that.
Okay. I mean, they use it the same one every time, right? I mean, at least from the exterior.
No, the very first time you see The Office, it was shot in a different building, way up the 405, going north. I don't even know where we were. Stevenson's Ranch or something like that.
Interesting. Yeah. Was it a set like up there, or was it
an actual building that they had like converted? You know, it was like an empty office building, and they had built out this office.
Interesting. Okay. Did you create like a backstory for yourself? I know I like Maddie's backstory a lot as well, but I'm wondering if like when you went back for that to be at the firm, if you kind of made one for yourself or not.
No, basically. The only thing I decided going along, well, there were a couple of things. I decided that I had been working there when I was volunteering at the continued education thing for Leslie's house, that I was already working at this firm. And what else did I decide? I think there was a moment when I was brought back. I was brought back for probably, it was either the second or third one. And the costumer and I were trying to remember if Barney was wearing a wedding ring. And I couldn't remember, and she couldn't remember. And, it had to be the third or fourth because the Ben thing was starting, the Adam bet was starting to run. And I decided, I said, let's not do a wedding ring just in case Barney comes out in some future episode.
I love that.
And we don't have that horrible complication of him, cheating on his wife, theoretically. But yeah.
Oh, that is so funny.
I decided he was very closeted, and
I didn't even think of that, but that goes so well with why he's like in love with Ben.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh my gosh. Do you have any accounting experience yourself?
Zero.
Okay.
Zero. And if there are any actors listening, I teach this when I teach certain acting classes, workshops that I do. My God, take an accounting class if you're going to go to Hollywood. Take an accounting class. As much as you think you're going to hate it, you need to know something just to understand your paychecks and what's going on in them. Yeah, do it, kids.
Okay, good to know.
That's good advice.
Where do you teach?
Wherever I can. When I was in LA, I was teaching at Studio School, which is a BFA program downtown in an actual studio on Vixel Street, I think it is. And it's wonderful. It's a working lot. They shot Mad Men there and quite a few other big things. And there's this wonderful BFA program that's housed there. So the kids are exposed to all this real equipment and actors and all this stuff. That was a blast. I worked there for 2 years. And I started doing this little workshop, a character workshop. And I just did it here and there. I had intended when I came back to San Francisco to go full guns with it and just become an acting teacher up here. And then COVID hit, so I didn't do that.
Oh, good old COVID.
Good old COVID, yeah.
Do you have a preference? I mean, I ask this of a lot of people, and most of it is just like they don't have a preference. But do you like theater more than TV film, or is it kind of just like wherever the work is?
I'll tell you. I probably did have a preference at one time or another. I think I'm more suited to stage than anything. Stage is certainly more satisfying. To actually work with an audience is
totally
immediate
beyond its
feedback.
It's just great. It's just really great. And of course, I love TV. It's a lot like stage, especially when you're doing a sitcom that's taped in front of a live audience. That's very much like doing theater. But the one I loved the most was film. And I loved it because it moves at the pace I move at. I'm very slow in my rhythms. I'm very slow in my decision making where characters are concerned. And film gave me all the freedom I needed to like dwell on things before I had to go before the camera. TV never does that. you better do what you did in the audition or you're going to get fired. You have to have it all there, right there. And I did a couple of little films. I did one on location for a week. And that was I was in heaven during that week. It was really fun.
That's so cool. I love that. And so that one with Jake Gyllenhaal, the kind of scary one, that was probably your first like big one, or were you doing more stuff before that?
It was my first really, really big studio-backed film. I had done one film before that called Purpose, which was a small independent film. But yeah, that was my first real big one. And after that, I did... No, I can't believe
I forgot the movie. I forgot the name.
Did it. A gymnastics film. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah. Stick It, maybe?
Stick It. That's it.
Yes.
Oh, I love Stick It. It's great.
I remember that.
That was a big studio movie. That was,
Yeah.
big.
Did Did you ever want to do like Broadway or anything since you had such a big theater background?
I did. Oh God, now we're going to get in. Now you have to become my therapist. I never.
That's what we're here for. We have time.
It's like my legit job.
Maddie is a therapist.
I never wanted to go to Hollywood. I never saw myself in Hollywood. I never thought I was right for it. And I wanted desperately to end up on Broadway. Mm-hmm. But I was a kid from podunk nowhere who came to San Francisco and got lucky. You know, I got recruited into a company right out of college and started working. And I was not terribly sophisticated. And New York scared the hell out of me. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to go. And my friends were getting into, you know, Ivy League grad schools and going east. And I would go visit them and get my toe wet. But I couldn't figure out how you lived in New York. You know, I would look at what the prices were, and I just couldn't wrap my head around it, which is unfortunate because you can make it work. You know, you can go there and make it work. And I think this is funny. This is an awful thing to say. A lot of actors are going to hate me for saying it. But I heard it from a lot of casting directors, and I have come to believe it's true. You can kind of tell when an actor has spent some time in New York and really, you know, done the work out there. They're a little different. It's a little different.
Like it hardens you a little?
I would say either hardens you or sharpens you professionally is how I prefer to think of it. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Well, I think the East Coast has a different vibe than the West Coast anyway.
You know, I'm a totally different person when I'm in New York. Mm-hmm. I feel so free, so unfettered. I have confidence I don't have normally, you know. And,
interesting.
And there's just that energy of, you know, it's kind of a struggle to be there. To live there is definitely a struggle. So, you know, you got to kind of work to get what you want.
Right. Well, now that you have stuff under your belt and you're like, you know, I feel you can go to New York and work if you wanted to, probably.
Thank you for saying that.
You have to believe it too, John.
I do, but you know, oh my God, you've caught me at a really interesting time in my life because the last 2 years in LA, I was very disappointed in my career. You know, I had come off of Parks and Rec with a lot of interest. And my agent was thrilled. She said, "There's nothing we can get you into, you know, all kinds of auditions." And I did for 2 years. I read for series regular stuff, big guest star parts and everything. And I didn't book a damn thing. And after a while, they weren't asking me to read for those things anymore. And they were calling in for one-liners and stuff. And I was just really depressed about that.
It is the most heartbreaking career in the eternity of the world, I feel.
Yeah, it can be. It really can be. And
it can be. That's a better way to put it.
And I had to wrestle with my ego a lot those final years. And because I couldn't believe it was happening to me, you know?
Yeah. Well, especially when you've been sold this idea, like, we can get you anything you want now, you know? It's always job after job or job to job.
It's more what's in your head. You know, we all think we're a star. Oddly, well, that's a whole nother discussion. I never did think I was a star, but I started, you know, going through the process of, can I walk away from it? Mm-hmm. You know, I had wanted to be an actor since I was 11. I had pursued it doggedly since that age. And there was nothing else I had ever wanted. And so letting it go was a very long process. And I have to say, COVID helped because it shut everything down and gave me time to think and come to grips. And I quite by accident fell into the world of dog care.
Ooh.
We
love dog care.
I became a dog walker during COVID. And I fell in love with it.
Wow.
Now I run a business And my partner runs an even bigger dog business. And
no way!
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
What business is it? So let's shout it out. What is it?
Okay. Mine is Stowaways. It's is it? My God, I'm going to forget my website. sfstowaways.com or stowawayssf.com. And my partner is Active Pack.
Wait, say the last one again.
My partner's business is Active Pack.
I'm going to look up the Stowaway one
Active
first.
Pack SF or something like that.
Okay, wait.
I'm a terrible business person.
Okay, well, I'm going to find it. But I can't. Oh, wait. So wait, maybe I need to. Okay, there's a film called Stowaway.
Yeah. Not that. I'll get it. Oh, hold on. Keep the ball rolling.
Okay. No, I'm not finding it on Google for some reason, but I think I might be spelling it wrong or something. But either way, once we get the link, I'm going to post it in the show notes, both of those, and then we'll make people go. Is it just San Francisco, like
sfstowaways.com. It's just San Francisco. I have my little area, which is basically the Haight and Twin Peaks and Castro and Noe Valley.
Okay.
And
so cool.
It's great.
I love that.
I love it. I mean, yeah.
Well, is it like a kennel thing, or are you just walking dogs, or what is it?
You drive around, you pick up a pack of dogs, and they all know each other after a while, and they are a pack, and you take them out to play together.
Oh my God. That sounds like the best job
I want this job.
It's a great job, I got to tell you.
Maddie's moving to San Francisco tomorrow.
Yes, I'll be your employee now.
I do.
I'll bring my 2 little poops.
And so, that's about a 6-7 hour day, and it's a blast, and you fall in love. You fall in love with all these little dogs.
Oh, that's so cool. Did you own pets like growing up then? Is that how you did this?
Or
like got the bug for it, I guess?
Interestingly, I was a cat person my whole life.
I am too!
And I very accidentally fell into becoming a dog owner around 2011. I saw this pathetic rescued dog on a friend's Facebook page. He had just found it abandoned in some outer part of LA and took it to the vet to get it all cleaned up. And I just had to have him. And I said, "Are you going to keep him?" And he said, "No." And I said, "I really want to meet him." And that was it. He's still here somewhere. What's his name? George Cluny.
Yes.
That's so good.
That is so perfect. I can't even handle it.
And there he is.
Oh my God, wait. I'm taking a picture of us. Hold on. Okay, ready? 3. Maddie, get ready. 3, 2, 1.
Oh my gosh, I'm going to cry. He's so cute.
He's so adorable. Look at his little outfit.
I can't with dogs, guys. Like I cry watching TikTok videos of dogs. Like,
well, I'm going to make you cry even more because I'll tell you the story of George is that because of the condition he came into the vet with, and there was one aspect in particular, he was covered in house paint, and the vet thinks he was a bait dog in a dog fighting ring. They take small dogs and they put paint on them, and the paint upsets the fighters and causes them to get riled up and do it.
What the actual fuck? That's crazy.
People are awful.
I know, and I'm so sorry to mention that. It's a terrible thing, but
no, I think it needs to be like actually. We need to be more knowledgeable about it. The educational value is, insurmountable.
Yeah, the world is a dark place sometimes. But also, that's why I had to have him, and I had to. And I was totally naive. I didn't know anything about having a dog, so I did everything wrong. Spoiled him beyond belief. And he had a lot of issues. But, oh my God, he's my best friend,
Of course. Wait, do you watch Grace and Frankie, John?
Yes.
Okay, because you know that episode where Saul not adopts, he actually is super against breeding or whatever, but then he falls in love with a dog that has been bred kind of thing, and he does the same exact thing. That's what it's reminding me of, where he's just giving him treats even though he didn't do the right thing.
That's that's what happens, though. I mean, it's like, oh my God, you just you'll do anything for him.
Of course. How old is he?
True.
George is 12.
Wow. Oh my gosh. I bet he's living such a good life with you, though. Oh my
gosh. He was a baby, though, when you rescued him then.
What's that?
He was so little when you rescued him then.
He was, well, he's little now. I mean, he weighed about 9 pounds when I rescued him. He was quite a bit underweight.
Of course.
His normal weight was about 12 pounds.
Okay. How long ago did you say you got him?
I got him in September of 2012.
Oh, okay. Okay. So yeah, you've had him for almost his whole life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're his person.
Yeah.
Little baby.
That's so cute. That's such a great story and such a great thing that you found to spend your life doing. That's awesome.
Yeah, it is. I love it.
That's so cool. Well, I know that theater is not really going to happen probably anytime soon because of COVID, but once it does, do you think that you'll start to maybe look into auditions or working with a theater there or maybe TV film, or is that kind of not on your radar
Never
right now?
say never. You know, since leaving Hollywood, I've actually been called in to do a couple of jobs, which is the weirdest thing because, you know, when you're there, your dream is to just be offered something. And that didn't happen for me down there, but it did once I left.
Of course, that's the way it goes.
Do an episode of Storybots on Netflix. Which is
I love Storybots.
Wonderful, wonderful children's cartoon. And
I've never seen it. I love that.
Oh, you have to look at it. Yeah.
Okay,
I don't think my episode's out yet, but of course I'm playing an accountant who explains budgets.
No!
To the characters. Yeah. Yeah.
So cool.
And
that's so fun.
And then I just went down to Hollywood for a week to be John Lithgow's understudy in the live presentation of Different Strokes.
What?
Yeah.
Wow. That's a big deal. Oh my God. Did you get to meet him?
Yes, I had worked with John a couple of times.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
What's he like? What's his deal?
Oh, he's amazing. John's amazing. He's a he's as nice as you can imagine, you know, and he also knows everyone by name. I mean, he even knew the extras by the first name.
Wow.
The first time I met him, I was on Third Rock from the Sun. It's the 100th episode. And the first day of work was the morning after the Emmys, and they had all won a ton of Emmys. So it was quite a week to be there. And then a few weeks after that, well, a couple of months after that, John called me at home and asked me to be in a staged reading of an Oscar Wilde play he was putting together. So, and that was a blast. And
that is so cool.
Yeah, he's great.
Cool. Well, speaking of creatures, I was going to ask, you have to tell us all about being on Star Trek and like what kind that was. Like, I'm not a Trekkie. I can't say that I am, but I'm very intrigued because your picture is amazing. Everybody, I'll post the IMDb picture. Yeah. But because I know there's so many iterations of Star Trek. So like, tell us all about that and what that was like. Are you a Trekkie?
Oh my God. Okay. This is a story. There's a story here. The character was Murrock. And he is a Vulcan. And, I'm just going to have to be very honest about all of this. I never liked Star Trek when that came up. I never paid any attention to it. My mother and brother loved it, but I had never been into it. I happened at the time to be romantically inclined with somebody who was a Trekkie.
Okay.
And when I got the script, I didn't understand it. And we sat up all night, and I got this huge, the backstory of the entire history of Star Trek.
Oh my God.
And what Vulcans were and how they differed from Romulans and all this stuff. Gosh. And I basically had to learn the script phonetically because I just didn't understand all the.
I bet.
But I went in and got the part. And boy, that was interesting. You know, it was very early. You had to be in the makeup chair at 5 a.m. and you were in for 2.5 hours or 3 hours or something.
Jeez.
And the costume was amazing. I was practically sewn into it. It was just a beautiful thing. But I was nervous as you can be on that set.
I bet.
Because I didn't understand the world that I was supposed to be inhabiting. And I'll tell you a very funny, candid little story. When it was all over, I got a call to come in and do some dubbing, some ADR on it.
Yeah.
And for that, you go into this special sound booth and they play your scene, and then they have you say the lines exactly and match your lip movement, but say it a different way, just different interpretation or inflection of the same line.
Right.
And you do that for every line of the thing. And I went in and I figured, there was a sound problem or something, and that's why we were doing it. And the director, I'll never forget him. He was so diplomatic. He goes, okay, well, now I'm going to play. He explained how it's done. And he said, now, in this one, the director would like you to be, maybe more forceful. And I was like, okay, well, let's. And so he goes, we're going to play what you did, and then we'll go back and let you try it a few more times. So he plays the scene for me. Gayest Vulcan in the galaxy. I was so nervous. I was practically lisping. It was hilarious. And I doubled over in that sound booth and just howling. And I waved at the director. I said, I get it. I see what's going on.
Say no more.
Say no more.
That's awesome.
So we dubbed it. We dubbed the whole thing.
Oh my God. Were you less nervous when you were dubbing it? Like, do you think you did better or whatever?
Nervous, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is so fun. You know what? Are there gay Vulcans? There should be.
There should be.
No, I mean, I think there should be.
That is so amazing. I love it. Was it just one episode that you were in, or was it multiple?
No, it was just one. It was Enterprise, it's Star Trek Enterprise, and oh God, what was it called? I can't remember.
It wasn't the one with the main dude, right? Oh my God, which I'm forgetting his name in real life.
You mean the main Vulcan, the head of all Vulcans?
Not Patrick Stewart.
No.
The good guy.
Scott Bakula was the.
Was that his name? Yeah. Okay. Well, anyways,
Captain.
did you get to interact with them at all, or was it not that one?
I don't think I had a scene with Scott.
Okay. If I'm being honest, I don't know anything about Star Trek either, but I respect it.
Yeah.
Most of my scenes were with no one because I was on my ship talking to a monitor, and they were talking to me from their ship. So I was actually talking to nothing.
I see. Okay. I get it. But I'm sure the crew was still kind of like daunting as well, being there.
Yeah. Well, was
the ship cool?
Oh, yes. The set was really cool. And I was working with an actor named Gary. That's all I remember. And he was like some mucky muck in the Vulcan world. And he'd been on the show for quite a while, off and on. And he was so cool. He was like, he kept me sort of together.
Yeah. You need that person, I feel, sometimes, because your own head goes like back and forth. Oh my God, that is so crazy.
Yeah, it was. And that I said they were very long days. Once you were done, you'd go back to the makeup chair, and it took an hour and a half to get out of the makeup too. It's like,
oh my God, I can't even imagine. Was it like prosthetics?
The ears were.
Ah, okay.
The ears,
and they had to do your hair all different, right?
A wig that it gets that luxurious Vulcan hair.
I can imagine the costumes being like super pristine as well, you know?
Oh, yeah. Like I said, my costume was a piece of work. It was so beautiful.
Where'd they film that?
They filmed that at Paramount.
Oh, okay. I got it. Wow, that's intense. I remember my dad used to watch that Star Trek, but I never really like got into it. And I think I don't know. I know there are some schools of thought where you're like either Star Trek or Star Wars. You like one better than the other, kind of like cats versus dogs kind of thing. But I don't know if that's true or not.
You know, I was never a science fiction fan. In any way. In the early 70s, there was a film called The Andromeda Strain, and I loved it. And that was like the only science fiction I'd ever shown any interest in until they came out with Battlestar Galactica. My God, what a series. That was so great. That sort of turned my head about all things science fiction.
Yeah.
Started getting in.
I want to watch the newest one. They've got a new one. I mean, it's not like 2020 or anything like that, but I think it was like a couple years ago or something where they redid it.
They redid which? Star Trek?
Battlestar Galactica.
Oh, Battlestar. Oh. I don't know which one I saw. Maybe
that's probably the one before that, because that one was newer.
There's a really high, well-produced 90s or 2000s or something.
Yeah, that was probably the first one.
Yeah.
Okay. Either way. That's so cool, though. I love that you got to do that. And I honestly, I mean, you say you were nervous because you didn't know the world, but honestly, I bet people are even more nervous that do know the world as well. So, like, it could have gone either way.
Yeah, maybe. It was also technically a drama. And I am not very comfortable in drama.
I see.
Yeah, I'm much more at home doing comedy.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. That's good to know. Okay. Well, one thing that I ask also everybody is if you have a character that you resonate the most with on Parks and Rec, like out of all the characters on the show, is there someone that you think that you are the most similar to?
As an actor or as Barney?
As a person. No, not as Barney. As a person. Like you, John Balma. Do you resonate the most? Like, for example, I resonate the most with Leslie because I feel like I can be uptight, but also like casual and organized, but also very like A plus B equals C and comedy and all that stuff. So I'm just curious if there's anybody that you think that you resonate the most with on.
Well, I'll tell you quite honestly, I'm a Gemini.
Okay.
So I see a lot of myself in two characters.
Okay.
That's okay.
Myself and Nick.
Okay.
The very sort of withholding, dry. And
Love it.
A lot of myself in Chris, the sort of overenthusiastic puppy dog that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great combo.
Yeah, that is a great combo.
Terrible mistake all the time.
Yeah, he's nuts. Oh, I know one question I was going to ask too. Speaking of Chris and your scene with him, when they're trying to get April the job, in that last season they have the phones that are like, supposed to be from a couple years in advance or whatever. I think the year was like 2017 or something like this.
Yeah, which our phones did not end up that way.
Do not. That's fine. Do you remember watching that? And it's like this virtual kind of reality situation almost where the screen is lifted off the phone.
I only heard about that after the fact.
Yeah, well, I was just wondering what they used for it. Like, what was he holding in his actual hand, you know?
I have no idea. I don't remember.
It must have just been like
because
a piece of
on
cardboard.
set, nothing looked futuristic. And then when you saw it, I didn't even know about it till a fan actually asked that very question at Comic-Con one year, and I was like, what are they talking about? And I went and I looked at the episode and I was like, wow, what is that? That's pretty fancy.
Yeah, it's very Star Trek-y almost, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
I was just curious.
I was so oblivious, I didn't even notice it on set, what they were doing.
That's fair. That's fair. Maybe it was like a green screen situation, like he was holding like a piece of green something or other, and then they
No, he wasn't. I would have noticed.
Oh. Okay, we're getting closer.
Yeah, we're eliminating options.
I don't know.
Oh, maybe was he pretending to hold something?
Quite possibly.
Yeah, like maybe he was just holding it in his hand like so, kind of thing. I don't know.
Very possible. Or he was holding just a flat piece of metal that they projected on.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay. Well, either way, I was curious if you knew about that, but yeah.
Well,
Was there any other memories that you remember that you can think of?
No.
I know we already talked about it so much, so you can say no for sure. I'm just making sure I cover all my bases.
Yeah.
No, I went to the wrap party for the series, and that was fabulous.
Oh, fun!
That's awesome.
It was. It was again another night of being starstruck because, like, everyone was there. John Hamm was there. I was like, whoa!
Oh, yeah.
That's right, because he plays that super random awful character.
Yeah.
What do they do at wrap parties? Is it more just like a party and you're like drinking and having food, or is that it? Do they do games?
It's
speeches?
A party. This was in some club in Hollywood that I had never heard of before. And it's kind of like being in a big sort of almost disco-ish club. There's a dance floor and there's places to stand and sit in bars and food and everything. And at some point in the evening, all the big honchos get up and give speeches and thank everybody. And yeah.
That's awesome. I'm so glad you were able to go and enjoy that with everybody.
Me too. It was a blast.
Yay. Well, Madi, did you have any other questions that you can think of?
No, I've had a blast though, and it was so awesome to hear your I mean, because I think you have a different arc than the other people we've listened to, right? Like, I mean, I think it's the longest arc. Yeah, kind of like how you start and then slowly build up, and then you have like a chunk of a season where you're there a lot. Yeah. So I think that it's cool, and I really appreciate your time. It's always nice to hear.
Oh, you're so very
about
welcome.
Our favorite things.
That's so true.
This was an absolute treat. Thank you for finding me.
Oh my gosh, my pleasure. Yeah, that's so true, Madi. I didn't really even think about that. But I guess we talked about it a little. But like, yeah, you were like really monotone at the beginning, and then you just kind of amp up into this character that we all grow to love,
Mm-hmm.
Yay! Well, do you have any Instagram things? I know you said you're not really on social media, but do you have any social medias that we can plug or no?
Okay. Well, I'm on Facebook, of course.
Okay.
As John Balma, George Cluny. I somewhere there's a Twitter account that I stopped using years ago, but I'm going to start using it again. And it's John Balma. I think it's at Real Barney Varmn.
Oh my God,
nice.
That's fun.
That's what it is. And my dog business has a Instagram.
Okay.
SF Stowways. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Yay. Thank you
excited.
so much for being here today. Honestly, this is such a treat. What a delight you are.
Well,
it's so wonderful.
Thank you so much. And if you see me on the street, say hello.
Yes. Next time I go to San Francisco, I'll hit you up.
Do.
And if you're in Nashville or Arizona, you let us know.
Oh, one of my best friends in the world lives in Nashville. I should come out there. Okay.
Come on down. Well, wait for COVID to get its shit together and then come back. And good luck with teaching and good luck with George Cluny and your business. And we're just so happy for you and so glad that we got to talk to you today.
Thank you so much.
And let us know if there's anything else that you're doing that we can watch you in, okay?
Okay, I will.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, guys.
Have a good day. Yay!
I loved him so much.
Oh my God, he's so perfect and special and cute.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. When the dog stuff got me.
I know.
I was like, because who does that? Like they leave this big dream behind and find their other calling. Like April was like that as well. April Eden, right? She kind of just discovered this isn't my life anymore and found her other passion, and that's so cool.
Yeah. I was thinking about her the other day when I don't know why it popped into my head when she was talking about how she was almost Jessica Wicks and then she just didn't get to be Jessica Wicks and she was so close. And this industry can break you if you let it. And it is so, I mean, life in general can break you, but like this industry in particular, it's just like you get so close and then sometimes it just doesn't work out.
Yeah. And I think there's definitely some respect in the people who realize this isn't what's making me happy anymore. And they don't take it as I failed. They take it as this isn't what I was meant for.
Yeah.
And,
I think it always starts with like, oh, I failed. But
100%. Like I knowing myself, like I think that's the first thought you go to, but having grace with yourself and realizing, this isn't where my future is, and that's okay. And I did little parts that are going to be memorable to people.
Yeah. And it's not everything, it's just not everything. And that's what they always say to remind yourself of when you are acting or doing music or whatever creative thing, or just in general, like your job isn't all of you. I always think about that with, this sounds stupid, but that movie Soul, when they say like your spark is not all of you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that's so important to remember. But regardless, he was just like so delightful. What a treat. And so sweet. And I'm so excited that he was like able to talk to us today about everything and anything. And I felt like I really would just wanted to hear about his whole life. I could talk to him for hours.
Oh my gosh. I know. There was just I looked down at my phone at one point and I was like, oh my gosh, we've been talking to him for almost an hour and it feels like it's been 15, 20 minutes.
I know.
So yeah,
so good.
He was fascinating. I hope everybody enjoyed listening to him and hearing his life.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. Well, like I said, I will post and tag all the things that he said, him and his partners, information, and and also I'll try to find his Twitter, but also at the same time, like, you can find it if you want to, but I'm really interested in I don't know if we have any San Francisco listeners. I'm sure we do somewhere, or someone who would visit, but regardless, like, that would be really cool to spread the word about his businesses, or his and his partner's business. And then I'll also, of course, find that picture that he was in of Star Trek. And what was the other thing we talked about? What was the show that he was just on? Something Bots.
Oh, Storybots.
Storybots. Yeah. Okay, I'll post
this is a kid's show. I believe it's on Netflix. I've showed clips of it to my kids. Like, they teach you little things like about music. How do you make music? Oh, there's rhythm and there's a melody, and like, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
they are awesome. Literal robots, and they tell stories.
Yay! That's so cute. And it's so funny that he was an accountant on it. That's so awesome.
Yes, I know. And teaching kids accounting, that's so responsible of this show.
I know. We don't even do that in high school. It needs to be.
Girl.
So silly. So silly. But I'm glad he also talked about, like, teaching that in his teaching accounting in his acting classes too. That is so important. Even if you're not an actor, but especially acting, because, like, you don't know what your paycheck says.
No, yeah. 100%.
And the rates change and all that other bullshit, so whatever. But anyways, well, thank you all for being here, for listening. We appreciate you so much. We'll have some more guest stars coming up for you later this month. But for now, we hope that you have a lovely week, and we'll talk to you next time.
Yeah.
Bye.
There's a park and some pals, and there's also therapy too.